This is the plaintiff, Jeremy Nahum. He says he rented a place to start his custom closet business, and after a few months, the defendant, his landlord, told him things weren't going to work out because he was afraid of there being noise issues. The guy now refuses to return his money, and he's here in the name of justice suing him for the $3,800 he's owed. This is the defendant, John Rosano. He says the plaintiff was the one who wanted to move out because he found a better place to have his workshop. The guy stored his equipment on his property for a few months, and he had every right to keep his rent. He is accused of a closet catastrophe.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says that he rented workspace from the defendant for his closet building business and says that the guy kicked him out and now won't return his money. The defendant says the plaintiff broke the lease because he found a better place to rent and he doesn't owe the guy a penny. It's the case of a closet catastrophe.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
Mr. Nahum, talk to me.
Yes.
What happened between you and Mr. Rosano?
Well, I was trying to find shop space for my custom closet company. So I put an ad on one of the groups on Facebook that I was looking for space, and he responded to me. I looked at the place. I was like, this is perfect. We came to an arrangement.
What was the place that you came to an arrangement on? A guest house at his home, correct?
Well, it was actually like an oversized 2-car garage on his property.
Oh, not exactly a guest house. All right. So that's what you went to look at. That's what you liked. And then you entered into a little written agreement where it says rent Manorville. Is that where his house is?
Correct, yes.
Garage for $800 a month, and electric will be determined by bill. Rent is month to month. And then you pay $800, and there's a signature, et cetera, et cetera. All right, so in any event, you rent this space, and what happens?
It was, trying to get in. He was like, I got to move stuff out. And then it became, an issue of the noise, which I totally understood, but he had other, properties. He had other buildings. He's like, I'll get you into somewhere.
What do you mean an issue of the noise? What do you mean it became an issue of the noise?
It was on his property, where his house is, and there's, a house that he rents. So me being there at night and the machinery, saws and the noise.
Did you bring some equipment into the 2-car garage?
What that was I found a saw at a great price, and it needed to be moved from New Jersey to the shop. So he has a flatbed trailer.
Where was the shop?
It's New York, on Long Island.
New York. So it needed to be moved from Jersey to New York. And then what happens?
I contracted him to do that. We went out there, we picked it up, I paid him to move it, and we brought it to
How much did you pay him to move it?
I don't $550, whatever it was, something like that.
550?
Yes.
Okay. So you bring the saw. How big is this saw that we're talking about?
It's big. It's, about 10 foot by 40, 50 inches wide, something like that.
So is it before or after he sees the saw that his light bulb turns on and decides this isn't a good idea?
It was after, because at that point it was still, we brought it to where it was okay. We're going to, it's going to be here.
So then what happens is he's going to find you a different spot. And does he?
Well, I looked at a bunch of spots. They were all, I'm like, that's fine. He showed me other spots he had, and I was fine with that. I'm like, just get me in somewhere. And, time passed, and like I was supposed to have these.
When did time pass? Let's talk about how much time passed. When did you give him that $800?
It was actually, I believe, a few days before November.
Of what year?
I was supposed to move in 20. I was supposed to move in November 1st of 2020.
Are you sure it's 2020?
Well, it might have been 2019. It was 2019, right? Yeah, 2019.
Yes, it was 2019,
yes.
Right, Mr. Rosano?
Yes.
Okay.
So I let it ride, and let's see what where he gets me.
How long did you let it ride?
Till around February of 2020.
Oh, a lot longer than February. I see texts in June. Like we're talking 6, 7, 8 months later. Mr. Rosano, what is going on? Like, why would you hold on to the guy's money and not be able to provide a place for him, then just give him back his money? I don't get it. What's going on?
Well, I actually did try to get him a spot. And the problem was it was a third party. It was a friend of mine that had other buildings. And I asked him if he would take Jeremy and put him in one of his buildings. And he said, absolutely. He said, well, we got to clean it out. We have a lot of work to do. And it took a lot of time. These places are filled with stuff.
So one thing led to another. We couldn't clean out the building fast enough.
Fast enough?
His name was John.
Wait,
Yeah,
fast enough. It was 8 months before he first said, all right, this is silly. 8 months is not what I would call warp speed.
We tried to do other avenues to make it quicker, but COVID was involved, and we just couldn't get it done fast enough. There was a lot of things going on with the electricity that he needed to be put in his name and his name only.
So in any event, once he says, hey, man, I got to move on. Can I have my $800 back? What do you say to him?
Well, his machinery was in my buildings, the machine that we brought over from Jersey, and it sat there. We were all, obviously, in this time, we're trying to get a building, and it just didn't materialize. So then he said he found a spot. He says, can you bring the machine over to my new spot, which is about, 7 miles away from where we are. So I said, yeah, absolutely. Drop it off over there. And really nothing was said about the money at that point. And I thought maybe because we had the machine sitting in my barn, he was, realized that, okay, he had it sitting in his barn. Maybe he wants something for it.
Wait. So you were going to charge him storage? Because he left it there all those months?
I wasn't going to charge him storage. But figure something might have been, hey, give me $200 or give me $300. And then I brought it to him. You
for
put
what?
a machine
For not
on
doing what you were supposed to do? I'm sorry, usually people in your position who haven't done what they said they would do feel a little bit of remorse and say, yeah, you're right, man, it's been 7 months, and hand him back the money. You feel that because you took his saw back to him, that you're even. But that's something you guys had to hash out beforehand. And the only reason that the thing needed moving again, Mr. Rosano, is because you had, did he pay you $550 to move it from New Jersey? Is that accurate?
Yes, he did. Yes.
Okay, so
like
the only reason he brings it to your 2-car garage on your property is because you've promised him he can have a place there. And then when you say this isn't such a great idea, he's very laid back and says, okay, find me a different place. But the only reason that saw needed moving that second time is because you ended up backing out of the original contract to put it on your home property. And then you took 7 months, and your answer to the complaint actually says I should get storage. Really? Come on. Are you kidding me? Why should he pay you the $3,000 for your lost, your lost profits on all those jobs? You are sitting around on your hands for 8 months. So apparently you had some other way to make money. I guess you had the temporary setup in your brother-in-law's garage or something?
What I wound up doing was I asked my cousin, could I use her 2-car garage? Because it was just, I wasn't able to make no money with having my old boss cut the jobs for me. So that's what I did. I set up as minimal as I could.
Are you you're not still in your cousin's garage, are you?
No, because COVID was actually very good to me. Most of the companies, other closet companies, had to shut down. So,
Mr. Rosano, return this guy's $800, okay? And his court costs, you don't get the $3,000. You were running your business. You shouldn't have waited 8 months. You clearly weren't in that big a hurry. I'm not going to order him to pay you to move it because you breached. You're just putting him in the position, when you move it, you're putting him in the position that he was in before you breached the contract, which is, I pay once to get it to a place I can rent. So $800 plus court costs plus prejudgment statutory interest for the plaintiff.
So the plaintiff is going to get $800 back plus some court costs. Mr. Rosano, what do you think about this? The judge thinks you just sat on your hands too long in this case.
I did, but we did run around and try to appease him as best we can, and it just didn't materialize.
Well, unfortunately, that's going to cost you that $800. You got to give it back to him. Mr. Nahum, you're not getting the $3,000 you were asking for, but you are going to get your $800 deposit back. You okay with that?
Yeah, it is what it is.
Is the closet business working at the moment right now? Much or?
Oh yeah. I'm in a commercial building now, and we're growing.
All right. Well, good luck to you. Hope it works out. All right, Harvey. What do you think about this case?
Doug, a lot of people sue for lost profits. You actually have to prove lost profits here. The guy didn't. You have to show not only that you could have lost money, you have to show you lost money and how much precisely you lost.
Hey, judges, with your children, who is the disciplinarian? Thanks, Phil.
Whoa, okay. Nowhere to hide on this one. As you can guess, America, the disciplinarian is this woman sitting across from me. She sets rules, and the kids have to abide by them, and if they don't, there's consequences. I kind of usually weigh in with her, but not as heavy, and every now and then I'm an advocate for the
You pretty much side. Leave it to me. You pretty much leave. I mean,
right.
I remember when our first was 4 months old, we were, at the time, we would call it, there was a book written by a Dr. Ferber, so it was called Ferberizing.
Oh, how to get your baby to go to sleep without crying.
Correct.
Right?
So the first time I was letting Christy sleep through the night, she starts to cry, and I get up, and you get up, and I listened to make sure she's safe, and I said, we're not going in there. And you looked at me and said, she's crying. I said, yes, I know. We're not going in there. Right. We've got to get her sleeping through the night. And you said, how do you know she's not sick?
Right.
And I looked at you and said, oh my gosh. And I opened the door, and I took her out, and I rocked her for 30 minutes, and then I put her back in bed. Right. And then the next night, at 3 a.m, Christy woke up, and I went over to the room, and you said, how do you know she's not sick? I said, get out of here. I'll just handle this myself. And I stood there and listened to her cry, and then the third night, she slept through the night. Right. So, yeah, I would say that it's all fallen pretty much on me, because you are very, very, they walk all over you.
I suppose at some level maybe they do, but that book was that Dr. Ferber book. Yeah. I think it was maybe the Dr. Mengele training.
The Dr. Mengele training.
I mean, it just was so cruel.
It was not cruel. The kid needed sleep. She slept through the night.